hello everybody. Welcome to the 70213 Lakers podcast, pre-NBA Finals edition. I'm your host Kyle Randolph. I'm here with my boy Isaiah Torres. How you doing today, man? What's up?
We are doing good over here. Ultimately excited for the Lakers to be back in the finals.
I bet you are doing good, huh? I bet you are, man. That was a moment we haven't seen in a while. Lakers win that conference finals. That was beautiful. I'm not a Lakers fan even, but that was beautiful. Great moment in history.
I didn't celebrate.
Did not.
No, I didn't celebrate. But I'll actually, if I'm being honest, I was watching it kind of on my phone or my friend's laptop. We were kind of flipping back and forth, but I was mainly watching the UFC fights from this weekend because that was a great card. Those were some good fights on Saturday. So I was really watching that, and on the side, I was kind of watching the Laker game.
Okay, I respect.
But once I saw that they won, I was like, all right, cool, we won. Yeah, I didn't really celebrate it, and then I went home, and then I was watching the closing minutes, the trophy celebration at half court, and then a few of the post game media session, and it was kind of sinking in. I was like, all right, like, man, that's when I started to feel it.
It took a bit. It kicked in after a while.
I felt the excitement. So it's the anxious excitement. It's not celebration. It's just anxious excitement because, for starters, I'm watching LeBron talk, and I don't know. I don't know if we're already getting into it, but yeah, I was just talking about how it still blows my mind that he's a Laker. Still, or it's 2 years later, but he still blows my mind because 10 years ago I hated him because I was a stubborn Lakers fan, and the media pushed Kobe versus LeBron so much. So it took me a few years to start liking him. Honestly, it was when I saw Magic and Kobe himself. They were friends with him, and I was like, wait, if they like each other, why do I hate him for? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It didn't make sense. It didn't make sense. So I was like, I started being a fan of him after that, respecting his game. But yeah, man, to this day, it still blows my mind. Seeing him in a Laker uniform is wild. And on top of that, Anthony Davis too. I mean, it's another thing. It's still wild to me. So that in general still blows my mind. And then
how far they came.
Yeah, the fact that they're in the finals, it's crazy. So it gives me this anxious feeling, and I'm looking forward to the finals, man. That's all. I'm ready.
I understand how you're anxious though, because the job isn't done.
Yeah.
This is gonna sound stupid, but as a fan for my other sports teams that have made the championships, because the Rockets ain't doing shit, it's like, obviously for the team's franchise it's not, but it is worse to lose in the finals than not make the playoffs as a fan, because the feeling is so much worse when you lose the finals. I don't know about you, but for me, when I went to school, when my team lost in the championship, a whole bunch of casuals who don't even watch the sport would be like, "Oh, y'all suck. You suck. Look at Kyle wearing that. What a loser." I'd be like, "But we're better than every team in the league but one." And they're like, No, you suck."
Oh, I don't know about those guys, but that sounds stupid to me. Like those other dudes can't have. But they're just haters, though. You know what I mean? But no, I 100% know what you mean. It hurts, man. It's heartbreaking. Like obviously, we're talking like literal terms. Obviously, it is a lot better to go to championship and lose than not make the playoffs at all. But no, it's from an emotional standpoint, it hurts, man. And I felt it a lot in the past 3 years. I mean, I talk about this all the time with my fellow friends. Dodgers lose to the Astros in 2017. That one hurt me a lot because the Dodgers were the best team that season. They had the best record in the whole league, and they looked like it was just their season of destiny. And then they ended up facing this really good Astros team. And I'm going, at the time, you're like, damn, this Astros team is good. They have an answer for us every time. And it was unfortunate because those were some of the most entertaining and greatest World Series games ever. Game 2 lasted forever. Game 5 lasted forever. It was an epic 7-game series. And then the year after, the Dodgers lose to Boston. And that one hurt because I don't like Boston teams, and that one it felt weird because even though it was to a team that I didn't like more, I didn't care too much because I felt like they weren't going to win anyways. Like, it didn't even feel like the Dodgers were back in the World Series. It's hard to explain. That 17 World Series still hurt a lot. And right after that World Series against Boston, the Rams lost to the 2-year Patriots in the Super Bowl, and that one hurt me because I was shocked that the Rams made it that far and only McVay's second season coaching there.
Yeah.
And I couldn't believe that they made it there. You know, golf makes me nervous still every time he plays. And I was like, damn, they're really in the Super Bowl. And I knew that this was going to be their one shot because I wasn't too confident that they'll ever get back there again for a long time. But now it's a completely different team, you know, and I'm like, shit, like, I don't think the Rams are ever going to make it back there. They're going to have to climb a heavy steep because they have the Niners and the Seahawks in the same division as them. I know the Niners have a lot of injuries recently, but still, I mean, those are two tough teams in your division, so it's tough to get back to the playoffs, let alone the Super Bowl.
It is. Sorry, go what?
I feel all that heartbreak, dude. And then recently, the Astros come back with the scandal, and it just brought back bad memories. It's like you break up with this girl and it hurts you, and then 3 years later, somehow it gets reminded in your face that she broke up with you and it was ugly. It just brought back a whole bunch of tears. The fact that they won because they cheated, it makes it even worse because back then I was like, damn, we lost, but they were a good team. I guess it wasn't meant to be. And then it comes back that they cheated. You're like, it was meant to be. It was our team of destiny, but they had other plans. And so now here we are. It's been a long year, as we all know, especially in Lakerland. And yeah, they're in the finals. And the way I feel right now, it's unexplainable.
I bet. And other Laker fans got to feel the same way. They are anxious because we get right in this now. Your matchup, the Miami Heat. This team has come a long way, which we will get into later. But right now, we just got to say our thoughts. Predictions. I already said it last week's podcast. If y'all didn't listen, check it out. It's on the Franchise Sports Media YouTube channel, episode 9. We on 10 right now. But I said the Lakers win because every single series I say star power. That's kind of my ongoing thing. Every time I predict a playoff series, I'm going to say whoever has the most stars is going to win. It's cliche, can be seen as missing some details here and there, but that it's worked for me throughout years of predicting. I'm not going to act like I'm a god that's always right, but it comes in my favor a lot. So here's one thing with this matchup, though. I'm going to analyze what the Heat are better at than the Lakers and what the Lakers are better at them. Then, Isaiah, you could tell me if you think I'm right or wrong. Get some of your analysis in this. We both in this together. So one breakdown for sure. The Heat have better coaching. It's no secret. They do. Eric Spoelstra is better than Frank Vogel. That's a fact. One thing I say, it's close, though, because LeBron's done a great job at being point guard. The Heat have more chemistry. The role players are more involved. Everybody has a bigger role. And since they're not stars, that might be for better or for worse. But the fact is, they have more team chemistry. Not arguable. But on the Lakers side, they got the experience with LeBron. Their star has experience. Jimmy Butler never been to the finals. Danny Green's won a bunch of finals. So even though I tell you role players typically and statistically step down during big games and stuff like that, Danny Green, that experience makes up for it. I don't think he will. He's been inconsistent as prime J.R. Smith, honestly. But his experience, I don't think he's going to have an awful game in this series. So the Lakers got the experience edge. They got the star power edge. I'm going with them. But this Heat team is scary. These role players, Tyler Hero's been going off. Jay Crowder is playing like the best ball of his career. He's an example of somebody that stepped up. He didn't come out of absolutely nowhere, but he went from a solid 3-and-D option to 33 points in a playoff game. That's crazy. Duncan Robinson. Then now to get in the stars, Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo. This is a tough matchup. And anything huge that you think I missed in this, Isaiah? What you think?
I mean, you got a solid point with Spoelstra. Right now, going off playoff history and records and championships, Spoelstra's the better coach. Um, it's hard to really say how good of a coach Vogel is because he emerged as the Pacers head coach, that rising underdog against LeBron's Heat teams, and they could never get over that hump of beating them, right? And then after Paul George left, though, they weren't good too much anymore, right? And he goes, I believe he coaches at he went to coach some other team for a little bit, if I'm not mistaken. It was like
I know
Or,
he did.
Orlando or something. Um, I think he did a brief stint somewhere else, and he gets hired here as the Lakers coach. Wasn't even the Lakers' first option though, so you seem like they don't really want him there. And it's awkward, man. He coached the best team in the West, right? And then you question how much of that is really him. What I do appreciate about him though is he's very defensive minded. What I mean by that is, every time the Lakers face someone, they were gonna have to shut down somebody. I know that's cliche, right? But if you really think about it, first round, they had to stop the hottest guy in the bubble, which is Damian Lillard. They found a way to do that, and he also got hurt too. Second round, you have crazy scoring tandem of James Harden and Westbrook. They found a way to get around that, and then Jamal Murray, who was having his best games of his career so far, definitely catapulted himself in these recent past few months. What he was doing against Utah and then against the Clippers, we were saying, how's he going to fare up against the Lakers? They slow him down, right? Slow him down. How much do you credit that to Vogel, or how much do you credit that to James stepping up and saying, "I'm going to guard him"? It's tough. It's tough, right?
It is. I think you got to give them both credit to an extent.
You know what I mean? It's a little difficult.
Okay, LeBron for sure, but I think you got to give Vogel something.
Give him a little bit of credit, right? So I don't know. I think Vogel's a good coach, but we'll see. It is awkward though because I watch a lot of the huddles like during timeouts or the when they meet up in their locker room post game. Every time he's talking to him and he does a huddle, I swear it looks like nobody's listening to him.
Really?
It really does. It really looks like
I gotta look at this. I haven't analyzed that.
I was watching all the games between the Lakers and the Nuggets, and they always do those TNT inside tracks where you could hear what the coaches are saying in the huddle. So show the Lakers one, Vogel's talking. They all look like they're kind of looking away or not even paying attention. And then they show the Nuggets one, and they're all invested in what Mike Malone is saying. And you just look at it, and you're like, man, they really don't. It makes me honestly think this: if the Lakers were to lose in the finals, I don't think Vogel comes back.
After 1 year making the finals,
I really think they'll David Blatt him because that's what happened in Cleveland. And
I think they would, yeah.
If they win, obviously his chances of coming back are a lot stronger. But I wouldn't be surprised if there was a slim chance he still doesn't come back, even if they won.
I don't know about that one. I agree with you with the first one though, because
if they win, I'm pretty sure he would stay.
Yeah.
But if they lose, I really don't know if he would come back.
After what you reminded me, I agree with you.
It sounds outrageous, right? Like you go to the finals in one season, you think you had a good year. When they fired David Blatt, I was like, what? Like, but hey, I guess they say he was a bad coach. I don't really know.
I agree because like any team that is a LeBron coach team that LeBron James is on, no matter how bad the coach actually is, you're not gonna do really bad. So say they lose in the finals, they fire Frank Vogel, they're not gonna get worse. Let's be realistic.
Yeah,
they won't. If they get a coach that's that bad, they fire him, get a new one right away.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they would just move up Jason Kidd or I can't think of his name. I can't think of his name. But the assistant coach who didn't go with him to the bubble because of the virus, but he also has some Lionel Hollins. Like I think that's his name, right? Lionel Hollins? Or am I getting him confused?
I believe so.
But either Kid or him, they could possibly step up if Vogel got the axe. You know what I mean? But I don't know. We'll see what happens. My prediction, though, it's hard for me to go against the Lakers. I have them winning in six out of respect for the Heat.
That's what I said.
6 out of respect for their shooting. That's what I'm gonna go with here. I think like people were telling me, bro, I don't know, man. The Heat are really hot right now. They're a young team. They're hot. It's not your normal playoff circumstances. It's like AAU. That's why they're doing so good. I told him, how about this? Bam Adebayo was balling out, right? He's an all-star center. You're going to put 3 big men on him. He's got to deal with AD. He's got to deal with JaVale. And then on top of that, you got to deal with Dwight Howard, who gave Jokic trouble. So I think that could be probably taken care of.
I think they're starting Dwight. They utilized in the late games against the Nuggets because he's more aggressive, and that matched up against the Heat. That's going to match up really well against Adebayo. Yep. Nothing against JaVale, but the more aggressive style,
you're gonna need that definitely for Bam, because he's a dog too. He's an aggressive dog.
It's what you said. One episode that I liked. You said their strategy is not to come out with a big lead in the half. It's to tire out Bam Adebayo on defense, and I love that.
Yep. So I say that. I think that could kind of slow down Bam. And also, I just checked. It is Lionel Hollins. He's the one. He's also assistant coach, but he didn't go with him to Orlando because of the virus. He didn't want to risk it, which obviously makes sense. But yes, that takes care of that or slows that down. People are like, "What about Tyler Herro? He's becoming a bucket right now." Blah blah blah. That's why we have Danny Green and KCP. They're there for defense.
Okay, on defense. I thought you were comparing them. I was like, Hero's been having a better offensive playoff.
I'm not comparing. I'm talking about defense. I'm talking about all defense right now. Because they're saying, how are you going to slow down this hot Heat team?
Yeah.
Dwight Howard, McGee, Davis, you slow down Bam. Danny Green, you have him chase around Tyler Herro. He'll show him what's good. KCP, who also plays good defense when it matters too at times. You could put him on Duncan Robinson or vice versa. You know what I mean? You could switch them. But
a solid matchup. But, hey, you said 6 games though, so there's a reason for that. You ain't.
I'm gonna give it 6 games because let's say the Heat, their 3-pointers kind of adds up a little bit too much for the Lakers on a given night or something. You know what I mean? And then that I will say though, offensive wise, yes, Danny Green has been struggling, but we brought him here for a reason. The defense is what's showing more. But he can knock down that 3 when you might need him to. He did late in the last game against the Nuggets. KCP has been making more stuff because he's more of a shooter and a slasher. He'll get you those steal and then cut to the hoop, and he'll get that fast break bucket. When it comes to guarding LeBron, though, that's going to be a fun matchup to watch because Jimmy Butler, we all know, is an elite defender. And Jay Crowder is an underrated defensive player as well, who's guarded LeBron many times also as well. When he was in Cleveland, Jay Crowder was on Boston. They had some matchups. Jay Crowder, he could do some slowing down on LeBron too.
If he scores like this in the finals too. Because here's my thing. I don't expect the role players to be as good in the finals because Hero's had some crazy games.
Yes, he does.
But I still think they're better than the Lakers role players, even though I do love experience. I value experience more than young and hungry players when it comes to championship. But these young players are just that much better right now. So
they're hot. They're hot right now. But I gotta take Danny Green's experience on this one. If you have Danny Green on Tyler Herro, I'm gonna take Danny Green 100%.
He'll play solid defense. I don't think he'll outscore him every game. He's inconsistent, but he'll play good defense. He will.
But that's why he's there. You know what I mean? They brought him there to do that too. Sure, if he makes his threes, that'd be a bigger plus. But he's there to shut down that 3-point shooter who's hot. And right now his name's Tyler Herro, and that's why we got Danny Green. So I'm not worried about that. I'm really not.
But the Lakers stars have to go off though. That's one thing. They don't have to score 40, but Their
Well,
role that he have a better team. I keep interrupting you, but
no,
they
you're
have
right
a
though,
better
and that's what I
team.
was gonna get at. That's exactly what I was gonna get at.
LeBron and AD got to go off, and
That
they have.
that LeBron matchup is gonna be fun. Him and Jimmy Butler or Jay Crowder, whoever they want to throw at him. This is the series where we see what Anthony Davis could really do on the big stage. Because I'm trying to guess who's going to be able to guard him. Now LeBron is nearly unguardable too, but like I said, Jimmy Butler and Jay Crowder, they could slow him down. This is where we're going to see what Anthony Davis could do. And as you know, I'm not 100% fully confident in him yet. So we'll see. Because if we're going to be honest here, the Lakers win Game 6 on LeBron's back.
That's what you believe will happen? That's how it ends?
Well, actually, you know what? Let me take that back because AD did put up a lot of points in Game 6. But my problem is I think he needs to do more off the glass. His last 3 games, 2, 5, and 5 on rebounds.
I mean, to be fair, Dwight did grab like double-digit rebounds, so it's kind of hard to do it when Dwight's playing like that. But
he grabbed a lot of rebounds, and I have to look back at the minutes. But how many minutes does Dwight really play?
He don't play much, so I know what you're saying. When he's off the floor, they should always be getting the rebounds, not only when Dwight's on the floor.
Yep.
So like, it's a plus that Dwight was in double digits, but when he's off the floor,
he's off the floor.
Double digits.
Yeah, obviously Davis has more minutes than him, and in those minutes when Dwight Howard's on the floor, he needs to grab those rebounds, right? Like
he's got to be the aggressive guy.
Those rebounds got to be more. But when we're talking about fourth quarter, Game 6, LeBron said, "Hey guys, follow me. I'm gonna take us to the finish line," and that's what he did. He scored like 10 straight points in the fourth quarter there. And then after the game, they even said what happened there, and he said in the huddle, "Don't worry, guys, I got this. We'll do it." So what LeBron did was awesome because that is what I wanted to see from him all season long. What I mean, and I know it's not like he didn't do anything. He had a great season. He was second place MVP voting. What I mean by that is the whole season he kept saying, I want the offense, the ball to flow through AD. When we take team pictures, you hold the basketball because the ball's going to flow through you. You're gonna help us win this. You're gonna win this for us.
Man.
What I want is for LeBron to be that man this season because between the two of them, he knows how to win championships. AD could fly under his wing on this one. Like in the early stages, Shaq was superior. He was winning Finals MVPs. Kobe was still that dude, but Shaq was the dominant force. That's what I mean by that. You
want LeBron to take over. You want him to be the offensive.
I want LeBron to take over. And this whole season, AD is learning, right? He's learning.
He's going to be the one that tires out Bam. That's what you want. You want him to tire out Bam. Then you want LeBron to be the offensive carry. Not carry, because AD's under. But
it's not even that. It's like when the game is on the line, I want LeBron to have the ball.
Yes.
I want him to put in the bucket. I want him to take us to the finish line. The whole season he's been saying I want Davis to do it, but I don't want that because I want the one who has more clutch moments, the one who's won to do it. That's what I'm saying. And AD could learn this whole season, which he has. I mean, he hit that 3-pointer last week, right? I want him to keep learning under his wing. So next season comes along, now he has a championship too. Now it's a year worth of chemistry and experience built up, and then he could take over and have that arc. You know what I mean? In order for Kobe to become what he did after Shaq left, he had to be the kid first. He had to be under the big bro, and then when Big Bro left, he mastered his craft, got a new team of guys with him, and then it was his turn. It was his team. You know what I mean?
I like that. Go under LeBron's wing. Let LeBron do the clutch moments.
So when he did what he did in the fourth quarter in Game 6, I was all for it. That's what I want to see, and I want him to do that in the finals. And I think we will need him to do that in the finals, but it will be, as we all know, it will not be easy but especially when you have defenders like Jay Crowder and Jimmy Butler.
Yeah,
But
well,
at the end of the day, I have the Lakers in 6 games. I would say 5, but I'm gonna give the Heat a little respect here. And like I said, I'm gonna say maybe their threes add up a little bit too much for a game, so I'll give them an extra win. So I say 6.
I like
But
it.
we'll see. We will see.
I say 6 as well. One interesting thing I will say before we move on is in their 2 regular season games, the Lakers won both.
Yes.
I was like, Bam's going to guard AD, so it's going to be tough for the Lakers. I just want to say this fact, not really a debate. You pointed it out to me.
Yeah.
AD was the leading scorer of both those games. So I don't know what the hell happened with Bam, but he's going to have to step up to keep it close.
Bro, you know what I completely remembered right now?
Hmm.
I was forgetting a name. Another very important name that may slow down Bron as well is Mr. Andre Iguodala, because the Heat did not have him in the regular season.
He has experience too. He's that veteran presence. We forgot Derrick Jones Jr. as a role player as well.
Derrick Jones Jr. too as well. But when I'm talking about as far as slowing down Bron, that is another man who not only challenged Bron, he done it. He did it, right? So
Jimmy's done it to an extent as well too. So,
but none of them beat Bron in the series. Does that make sense?
And
except for him, except for Iguodala. I think it's huge. I think that's very huge for Miami as well. So you're throwing 3 guys at him. You're throwing Iggy, Jimmy, and then even Jay Crowder if you need him too. It's going to be because he wasn't there in Miami during the regular season. So I think that's a big one. So I know when we look at the numbers here of how they matched up in the regular season, that was my driving force to everybody last week when I was saying I would rather have the Lakers play Miami because they're the easier matchup, and everyone was like, "What? They're hot. What you mean?" But I was trying to tell them Boston gave them more trouble in the regular season.
They did, but you say Iguodala, they didn't have him.
Iguodala makes a difference. We'll see how much of a difference though. But yeah, I mean, we're looking at the point differential during the regular season. In their 2 games, Miami scored an average of 95 points to the Lakers 104. So we will. What is that? That's a 9-point difference. Does Iguodala make up that 9 points? We will see.
That's why we pushed it to 6 games, both of us, man.
Yeah,
they got a lot going for them. One thing too, though, I think Dwight Howard, he's got to start, and
I agree.
Rondo's still got to get more minutes. I mean, I love Caruso and he's great, but
this is Rondo's time.
Push Caruso's minutes down, up Rondo's, which they did in the Nuggets series towards the end. I think that's an X factor, not only because of experience and how he's playing, how he analyzes the defensive floor. Because here's the thing with the Heat. Since they're so chemistry-based, their offense, messing up one person, obviously having chemistry is typically better than having stars, but messing up one person can mess up a lot. So if Rondo's getting steals, because he got 3 steals off one player on the Nuggets in a game. If he does that to any of the Heat starters, or even their solid backups, he could prevent them from scoring. And their fast break points will skyrocket. Rondo and Dwight will most likely be X factors this series. I'm confident on that take.
100% agree that Rondo will be key. This is his time. This is his time to really do his thing. We already shown glimpses of it in this postseason. This is definitely his time to do it. You know why? Because Miami's got a savvy point guard in Dragic. We're gonna need that savvy point guard play from Rondo. This is definitely where Bradley is missed as well, Avery Bradley. But to match up against savvy Dragic, we're gonna need a big time clutch experience from Rondo. I 100% agree with you on that one.
Yeah. So moving on, we're gonna talk about the history. We already know a lot about the Lakers' history. That starting lineup with Wayne Ellington, Jordan Clarkson, Tarek Black, Robert Sacre.
Those were the dark ages.
They went through the dark ages. The Miami Heat went through what was supposed to be a dark age in losing LeBron James. Every team that's lost him, like the Cavaliers, went through terrible times, except them. The journey to overcome.
I think it was still dark, but they play in a not so good conference.
Really, that's your take on it.
They were able to still make the playoffs.
Like you're saying back then, now they've earned it. They're talented.
Yeah, coming after LeBron left, we all knew they took some drops, right? Like it's obvious they obviously weren't as good, and I mean they weren't really that good at all. For being honest, they were still able to get some playoff spots because because the East isn't that good.
I agree with that to an extent. I say
Yeah.
Eric Spoelstra plays a huge part in that as well.
He plays a huge part, and so does Pat Riley because Pat Riley knows how to put pieces together. But what I'm saying is they still weren't good. Like it was still dark ages for them. It just
not
wasn't.
even Popovich made the playoffs because his conference is hard. So
yes, that's what I'm trying to get at. They still went through hard times. It just wasn't. It wasn't. It didn't seem like it as much because the conference they're in.
They were supposed to be worse.
Yes, but big time credit to Spoelstra, but mainly Pat Riley. Everywhere he's been, he's had success. Let's not forget that. Let's not forget that.
That's a great duo.
Pat Riley is a good mastermind. He's up there for sure.
One of the best. One of the best. He has to be.
Yes.
And with Eric Spoelstra's coaching, how far he's come. Because during the LeBron age, or right after it, I believe, he almost got fired. They really almost did that to him.
He almost got fired when Bron got there.
That's when it was.
And you know the reason why he stood there? It's because Pat Riley said no, that's our guy. So that gave me the respect for Spoelstra as a coach. When Pat said, "Nah, man, that's our guy," he instilled that confidence in him to say, he's still gonna be our coach because Bron told him in the beginning, "Oh man, maybe this won't work out." He was already trying to get him fired. They had a small moment where they bumped each other in the huddle. LeBron bumped his shoulder, and LeBron went up to Pat. Hey man, how come you don't come back and coach? Like he really tried to get rid of Spoelstra. Now I'm going off Pat Riley's words here. I wasn't there, but Pat Riley said that years later. So no, much respect to those two, man.
So there's some history behind this, not even just for both teams and what they've overcome. There's some history with each other. These players, I didn't hear about that moment actually, so that makes me even more excited for this series.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lie, and I shouldn't say this, but I'm not a Laker fan. I'm very close in the middle here. But I would love to see Spoelstra beat LeBron, I'm not gonna lie. At the same time, I'd love to see LeBron win his 4th ring because his haters are some of the worst fans I've seen with their takes. I don't insult fans often because I'm not super smart myself. I don't think I'm even smart myself, to be honest with you. But some of the things these LeBron haters say, I'm like, you can't be biased on your takes, man. I don't care if you hate this player. LeBron is a top 5 player of all time. Top 3.
Yeah, man. You know what? I'll tell you what. If I wasn't a Lakers fan, I'd probably want Miami to win too. Because Pat Riley, right? Spoelstra, it'd be cool, right? But I'm a big Jimmy Butler fan, and I know we're gonna talk about him in a bit. So I won't dive too much into that right now. But I'm a big Jimmy Butler fan. So if I wasn't a Lakers fan, no doubt I would love this Miami Heat team to win. They also got my boy Derrick Jones Jr. up in there. That's my guy right there, man. I love that dude. If you asked any of my friends from back in 2015, because I came to UNLV the same year as him. I actually ran into Derrick Jones at a party one time back in the day too.
Really?
I have a picture with him and Zimmerman. Classic photo, bro.
Zimmerman, remember that name? Sorry, I'm going off topic.
Nah, man, I am too though. But nah, Derrick Jones, that was my dad. That was my guy, man. Back in 2015, you could ask all my friends. He was my favorite player on that team, over McCaw, over Zimmerman, all those guys. And to start the season, he wasn't a starter. And I kept telling people he deserves to be a starter on the team. By the end of the season, he was a starter. So I'm happy that he found his, because it was an uphill battle for him too. He landed a role on a team who was decent, and now they're in the finals. So I'm happy for him. So yeah, I like that team. I like this Miami team. Any other year they're facing a different opponent, I'm rooting for the Heat. Like I don't want to see them lose either. But it is what it is. It is what it is.
Even though it sounds like, and a lot of people, I know Joe would be saying, "Oh, you're rooting for the Heat, Cal, Laker hater." I'm actually down the middle. I just like to see Spoelstra get some revenge on LeBron. Even though they got along, they're the media overreacts to some things. I like to see that, but at the same time, I like to see the LeBron haters just get dunked on.
Well,
Honestly,
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. 100% more than Spoelstra. You know who wants to get back at LeBron? Pat Riley. He wasn't happy when he left.
I'm not talking about him this much, am I? I need to talk about him more. I keep saying Spoelstra. You're right.
He wasn't happy when he left. He was surprised. They just gone to four straight or three.
They gave him everything he ever wanted.
See, OKC, Dallas, OKC, 4. They went to 4 straight finals, and it looked like they could have been lasting longer. You know what I mean? And isn't LeBron the one that said not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
He did.
He only played there 4 seasons. So when he left, it was a big surprise. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm happy he left because I wasn't a fan of that Heat dynasty back in the day, and also. Although at the beginning I hated that team, right? But then throughout the first 2 years, I started to cheer for them because you know why? They were taking care of the Celtics, so I was cool with them winning. But
they always beat them.
But when he went back to Cleveland, I actually enjoyed it. I was like, hey, he said he's coming back home. Like he had a goal. I'm gonna bring a chip to Cleveland. So I was happy when he left, but Pat Riley wasn't, and he was shocked and surprised. So I think he wants to get back at Bron here too.
So much history with these two teams. It's like part of me wanted Lakers Celtics that's how the Lakers get their 17th ring. They beat the Celtics, but
I wanted
it for more personal history.
Yeah, man. I wanted that one for the fandom, but I've been saying for 2 weeks, I wanted the Lakers to face Miami because they were going to be the easier matchup, in my opinion.
Yeah, because I think there's more personal history there as well. I mean, the rivalry.
There's some more personal rivalry.
And LeBron's faced the Celtics before in the past, but facing a team you played for, and then the odds of you both making it to the NBA Finals to crown the best of the best. Yeah. That's at another level. And here's one thing you told me earlier. I'd like you to say it to the fans here again, because you said it to me off air. How many Heat players were here in the old days? Way back in the LeBron era, it was just, what'd you say, Haslam, right?
Haslam is the only common denominator besides Spoelstra, Pat Riley, and unless some of the assistant coaches are still there. But player-wise, the only person that's still there is Haslam. Haslam has been there since 2003. He's been there as long as Dwayne Wade has been there. That's why at the end of the day, I think they should retire his jersey too. Because I know
he was there.
I know they call it Wade County, Dade County, Mr. 305. Like it's big. Dwayne Wade is the biggest name. He's going to be forever known as as Heat lore. But dude, Haslam has been Miami through and through. Like he is Mr. Miami, Mr. Florida. He played his college ball at Florida, went undrafted. Stuck it out, got a spot on the Heat roster, and he's been battling it out since 2003. So
I don't know about a retired jersey, but something to commemorate him. I just think he wasn't. This sounds cruel because he deserves some fame.
He doesn't play too much anymore in the past few years, but I think he's a retired jersey guy for the Heat.
Really? I can see why you say that. I just think you have to be one of the best players. But
also, the Heat are not a historic franchise. They're not like the Lakers or the Celtics or the Knicks or anything. Relatively, their history is short because they were an expansion team. So it's not like they had too many great players who's been on their jerseys in the past.
True.
You really only got Tim Hardaway up until Alonzo Mourning. Alonzo Mourning. And then you had nobody until
Shaq.
Oh, it's true. Well, no, but that's what I'm saying. You didn't have nobody until Wade and Shaq, right? So for a good solid few years there, you only had Hardaway and Mourning, and then you had you had Shaq show up there to team up with Wade. So then those two guys have their jerseys retired. Will they retire bronze jerseys? That will be yet to be seen. But I think
right. He got him rings.
He did get him rings, but I don't know. I think they do too. I really do. But we will see. I don't know. We will see. But I think at the end of the day, Haslam's been there since 03, almost 20 years now. He played his whole career there. And then let's say they win this series, he retires. He's going to retire a 4-time champ.
Wow.
I don't know. But that's neither here. I mean, that's not a big, that's just my opinion on that. I also think they should maybe retire.
I never
thought they should maybe retire Bosch too, but I don't know about that one.
Yeah, he was underrated from the fans. The fans didn't give him much credit, and he did a lot. He
was a third wheel. He got the rebound. He was the awkward third wheel. He got the rebound. That's why I think he should get it. And also, unfortunately, his season was cut from a scary health issue. So,
it's sad. He deserves that. So, we've gone to the Lakers' history with the Heat a lot. We've covered Braun and Pat Riley's beef. I say media stretches out a bit, but we've covered their past, how shocked Riley was when he left. Here's where I got to give Riley credit, though, which I do. I think he's one of the best. But like I said, I've been saying Spoelstra repetitively. You've been saying Riley repetitively in this podcast. The common denominator, the only player is Udonis Haslem. And after the post-LeBron era, the fact that this team is still good and how they've changed so much and they've overcome what they were expected to do, that's Pat Riley. I got to give him credit for that.
Yeah.
He deserves all the fame. And one choice that he made, which we're going to get into after I talk to the audience a bit, is Jimmy Butler.
Oh, yeah.
Before we get into Jimmy Butler, though, I got to advise the audience, check out FSM After Dark, 9:15 p.m. at night, every single night. Got some uncensored takes on sports. It gets intense. It gets funny. All sorts of things going on that show. I advise you guys to check it out. It's amazing. Follow Franchise Sports Media on Twitter at @TheFranchiseLV. And now we're going to get into Jimmy Butler's career. This is a Laker podcast. So we did talk about the Lakers, to be fair, at the beginning. The reason I do want to talk about Jimmy Butler, even though it's on the Lakers podcast, is he got crapped on from. We
should talk about Jimmy because the Lakers are facing him.
It makes sense, right?
You don't gotta explain it.
All right, I'm glad. I feel like Joe would be like, Kyle, what you doing?
No,
but
makes sense.
Facing Jimmy Butler, his past, a lot of fans crapped on him. They said he's a franchise. Everywhere he's been, they've had problems with him. The Sixers had problems. The T-Wolves had problems. The Bulls didn't have problems, but some fans were stretching, saying things. And one thing that I laughed at people for saying, because I've never thought I've been on Jimmy's side throughout this whole thing. I thought the Timberwolves, Karl Anthony Towns, they're not as competitive. It just doesn't seem like they try that hard. They do, but something's missing. Cat is, I don't like roasting players, but he's soft. He is. I don't like using that insult either, but he is. I don't know how else to describe it. Jimmy has that the sense of competitiveness that you need to be elite. He may not be the best of the best, but he has that as close as you could get to the Michael Jordan mentality. Not as close as you could get compared to every player, but he is right there. He has that mentality. So organizations like the Timberwolves and the 76ers, they share something in common. They're poorly ran organizations. It's been out there. Even if the Sixers make it far, they are. Jimmy Butler, when he was on Chicago, he reached a lot of success, which that's a bad organization too. But the one he didn't beef with, they were thankful for him. They made it super far. So when he left the Sixers, a lot of people said he went to the Heat. He doesn't want to win. He left an elite team like the Sixers with this talent. He's a locker room cancer. It's his fault. And look at him now. He's not a ball hog, even though he shoots the most in a lot of games. He's not a ball hog. He does what he has to do.
Let me ask you a question, Kyle.
Yeah.
When did this Jimmy Butler cancer talk start?
A lot of people said it after the T-Wolves.
Okay, that's what I thought.
And disputes with the 76ers is when it really rose as well. Because with the 76ers...
That's what I thought.
Sorry, I keep interrupting.
No. I just want to ask you that question.
He was offered a big contract. I believe it was like the Supermax deal. He declined it. It's never been out there. There's been rumors, but they haven't really analyzed why he didn't accept it. So it wasn't money related. A lot of people chose to put it on Butler, saying he's selfish. He's not even going to take money either. He just wants to ball for himself. So that's where it escalated. It started back at the T-Wolves. A lot of people blamed him. And then once the 76ers thing, the Supermax, how we declined that, and then got on a team that was seen and viewed as worse, is when it escalated.
Man, I'll tell you what, dude. I'm super excited we're talking about this because I'm a big Jimmy Butler fan. Big Jimmy Butler fan. My dude is a dog. He's a motherfucking dog, dude. I love Jimmy Butler. That dude's a beast. He can score and he'll lock you up.
So what's your take on all the beef?
He wants to win. I'm glad we're talking about this, man, because I've been saying this for a good minute. Well, let's break it down in history, in chronological history, okay?
Yeah.
So it took me a while to learn about his background. Tough upbringing. He was adopted from a family, luckily for him, and it changed his whole life. Once he got adopted by them, he had loving support. I believe it was from one of his teammates or something like that. He went to junior college. I didn't know about any of this. The first time I heard of him was he was at Marquette. That was when I first saw him. I remember seeing him, but I didn't really know too much about him. It wasn't until when he was in Chicago where I really got to know who he was. He was that young dude who had the shaved head. He didn't have the personality yet. He was just that young dude learning from some vets. Derrick Rose, Joakim Noah, Carlos Boozer. He was a sponge. You know what I mean? Learning from some veterans. And those Chicago teams, man, people say all the time, dude, if Rose doesn't get hurt, who knows what that team could have done, right?
They were good teams, man.
They were the 1 seed when he got hurt. And I mean, the sky was the, this, like, I think I butched that up, but like the sky was the limit. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I mean, he was an MVP. He was a beast. It's unfortunate that he goes down, and the Bulls never really bounced back from that. So little by little, each guy went elsewhere. But soaking up all that knowledge and experience, you knew this guy was a beast, man. He would give. He was that young guy who tried to like slow down LeBron, but he could shoot sometimes. He was just learning. And then he became the man there. But unfortunately, he didn't have that many pieces around him. But I honestly, dude, back then, I wanted a Jimmy Butler Bulls jersey. Like Jimmy Butler was my guy, man. And then they said, fuck it. And they blew that team up. They traded him to Minnesota for Zach LaVine and Chris Dunn, I think. I'm not 100% sure on that one. Maybe not. Okay. So I remember that was a big trade. It was on draft day. It was during the 2017 draft. I was shocked. I was like, oh, shit, they traded him for him? I like Zach LaVine, too. So I was like, oh, 2 dudes I like swap. Like, it was crazy. Now we're going to the Minnesota stages. When he was in Chicago, and that's why I asked you this important question beforehand. When he was in Chicago, there was no talk about.
Yeah, it wasn't there.
He was a guy who was the man, and he was struggling because they couldn't get no help around him. And they said, and they even told him, they said, we're not going to trade you. And they traded him. He found out. I forgot how he found out. He found out through like someone else.
Wow. That happens a lot in this world. Basketball's a tough business, man. Yep. That's what it is. It's a business.
And that moment changed his whole mindset. That is when he learned this is a business. Went to Minnesota, and people were like, "Oh man, him with Cat and Wiggins, and I'm not sure if they had anyone else on that team, but like this could be exciting, and it could have been exciting, and I was excited for that team." And you said it earlier, and I'm gonna amplify it. Wiggins and especially Towns, they're not that good. They're I'll tell you what. Wiggins is not that good. Cat he has skills, right? He's been an all-star. He puts up big numbers. I'm not saying he's not good. He's soft. And I amplify more. He's a bitch.
Doesn't have the competitive edge. That's what I'll say about him. I'm not going to call him the B word.
Every time he plays, I swear he makes this like crying face. Every single game, you'll see him do this, like bitching. Just bitching left and right.
Doesn't have the competitive edge. One thing that a lot of people don't know too. I was shocked to learn it. about Wiggins, I guess it kind of makes sense that he's not that good, and people should have analyzed this before, or like before drafting him at number 1. I know they traded it. The Cavs traded him,
Yeah.
and his value was still high. But even for teams trading for him, they didn't analyze this. He doesn't like basketball. I believe his father forced him to play it, but he doesn't like basketball. So that kind of makes sense why he's not that good. If you don't like it, I'm not saying I condone this, but he doesn't like it.
Then don't do it.
All he needs is the cash, right?
Yeah.
What influence does he have to become a great at something he doesn't like? I'm not like that. If I'm getting a job and they're paying me that much, I'm giving it my all, even if I don't like it. But
No.
I don't know. I'm not saying it's okay for him to do this. I'm just saying.
I never cared for Wiggins too much, so I didn't know that. I didn't know that he didn't like it, but yeah, I mean,
it should have been expected from the teams. That's all I'm gonna say. Is it acceptable? No. You're getting paid a bunch. Do your damn job. Get better. But I should have saw it coming. I didn't hear about that till later.
I mean, I never really cared too much about Wiggins, anyways. If I'm being honest, I was a big Jabari Parker fan, but unfortunately, his career has been injury after injury, and he hasn't really done too much either. But nah, the Wiggins was never that good to me, and Towns is talented, but he's just a soft little bitch, man. And so when they went at it, the whole time I was happy, I was cheering it on. When I found out that he was going at him with the third squad or the bench players, and he was all calling them bitches and shit, I was like, hell yeah, tell them they're bitches, Jimmy. Because everyone was like, oh man, Jimmy Butler, he's a problem in the locker room. He wants to win. You know, like he's a dog, bro. He's a dog. He has, like you said, he has that MJ, that Kobe. He has that attitude where he wants to be great and elevate his team. He wants his teammates to be great with him. But in order for them to be great, they gotta be fucking dogs too, right? Like they gotta be. It's got to be like, you're with me, let's go. So, and that was the problem with Minnesota. They're just bitches over there, bro. And that's the truth. So when he got traded to Philly, I was like, hell yeah. Because now he's with Ben Simmons, who looks like he don't take no shit either. And then you got Embiid, who definitely don't take no shit. That man's a reckless too, right? I was like, this team's going to be exciting as hell.
It just wasn't a good pairing, sadly. But they made it far. They really did.
Dude, I'm telling you, bro, if Kawhi Leonard doesn't make that three-pointer, Jimmy, and then win in overtime, and then they advance to the next round. I don't know where they go from there, but they advance to the next round.
So one thing we said about Jimmy, his competitive edge, compared it to Jordan. Well, here's one thing.
The thing is, well, I'll let you go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to move on to our next topic. You cool with that? Finish off what you got to say about
What I was going to say was, like, with Jimmy, they one of my best friends, he's from Philly, so he's a diehard Sixers fan. Well, what he was telling me was that they wanted Embiid and Simmons to be the guy. And while clearly Jimmy was probably the more proven ready guy, there was just conflict about who's going to have the ball in the last moments. And that's why they didn't, at the end of the day, they didn't click. You know what I mean? So that's what it came down to. And I remember last season somebody saying, this Heat team, they have some good pieces, but they just missing that one thing.
Jimmy Butler.
And it turns out it was Jimmy Butler. And the best thing about it is he said it countless times. What does he say about this Heat squad? He says, these guys are some dogs, right? He just needed he needed the right group of dudes. And now they're a match made in heaven right now. He said in the beginning of the year, this team can win the championship. And I thought, Jimmy, I love you, but you're a little crazy for that one. Maybe not this season. Maybe not this season, but give it a few years. But, hey, man, they're here. And I'm happy for them. I really am. Like I said, man, if it wasn't against the Lakers, I would want them to win. But that's what I got to say, man. You brought up Jimmy, and I was all for it, dude. Because I want people to know Jimmy's a dog,
bro. Incredible story.
And this BS about him being not the guy, like him being a not a good teammate, it's not that. It's just his fucking teammates were weak.
They didn't take criticism. This Heat team, even if they have bad games, Jimmy will like them because they take criticism, they have the competitive edge, and they are hungry. So one thing we said about being hungry and having that competitiveness, we said is similar to Michael Jordan. So we're going to be pretty quick with this. I say give us 5 minutes to go through this because we believe we both have a similar opinion.
Okay.
If LeBron wins this finals, is he the GOAT? I don't like this GOAT debate. It's 2 different eras, but a lot of people tend to love it. So we're going to get into this. What you say?
I'll tell you what, Kyle. I'll be quick, all right? I don't do this debate talk either because they played in different eras, man. At the end of the day, you just cannot – you're not going to be able to do it, right? You're just not going to be able to. J. Cole says it in a song. It doesn't matter who won because they played in. He basically said that they played in different eras. Both came through, made change and made a lane. They're both the same at the end of the day. Why don't we just appreciate them both? Like I'm paraphrasing. I don't know. That's not verbatim what he said, but yeah, man. Just 2 different eras, so it's tough. But I mean, at the end of the day, Jordan has 6 championships, and when he was on the floor, everybody knew that he was the man. You know what I mean? Like he was the man. So you got to go with Jordan. You got to go with Jordan on this one. Even if LeBron wins, it's a no. He's not the GOAT. But I'll let you go ahead.
I say same thing because here's my take on it. Jordan had more scoring titles. I don't like people that judge it by points. The era is different. So if we are going to compare different eras, which I don't advise you to do, but a lot of people love it. So if we are going to compare different eras, Michael Jordan was the best of his era. That is arguably superior. End of story. He won more scoring titles. Doesn't matter if LeBron averages more points. Teams didn't average as many points as they do now back then. They just didn't. So if you're going to compare us, that's your game. Jordan's the better scorer. Jordan was by far a better defender. Okay, not by far. No one's by far better than LeBron. But he had defensive players of the years. He just did. Now, more fourth quarter greatness with the takeover mentality. LeBron's got it too, though. It's just there's too many things that go in favor of Michael Jordan. There just are. The scoring titles, the defensive player of the year, the averaging his steals averages. That was a big part of it. He just seems more well-rounded. So analyzing as a player, I got to give it to Jordan. I say LeBron is a better
statistical
player.
There
you go. No. He is because Jordan he didn't play point guard. He wasn't that much of a passer. So, but he was also a better defender. So I think that makes up for it. They're pretty even there. LeBron's better statistically, but Jordan, he won more. He could do more. And he has the rings for it. I don't care if LeBron's made it to more. A lot of that, his conference wasn't the best. I'm not one of those haters that say, oh, he doesn't deserve nothing, because he is a top 3 talent.
That's the tough one, right? That's the tough one. You got to appreciate what he did carrying the teams he carried to the finals. But the East was a weak conference. But
you got to factor it in.
You got to factor it in, but still it's like, damn, though. But you look at his roster, his teammates, and you look at the other. You're like, how do you do that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure, he earned it.
If you don't mind, I want to say the lines from the song just because, if that's cool with you.
Oh yeah, this song's perfect. I keep rambling.
It's a bar. It's a bar, man.
Let's hear this. Jordan had more achievements. That's it for me.
And this is back in 2011. This is back in 2011. I'm gonna shout it out because Cole's my second favorite rapper right now, behind Kendrick. Okay. But J. Cole 2011 debut album on the song Sideline Story. The song is called Sideline Story. He says this. He says, but you'll never play me like LeBron versus Jordan. 20 years. Wonder who they gonna say was more important. Both changed the game. Came through and made a lane. Who's to say who's greater? All we know is they ain't the same. And I remember I was like, damn. Like I played that back. I was like, damn. That shit was cold. Like yeah, you know what? Like, you know what? They did play in different eras and kind of like he kind of said, fuck it, man. Fuck this debate. What they did for the sport and the league, they both were amazing, right? They took it to new levels, and we should celebrate these guys. I think that's what he's saying. You know what I mean? Like fuck who's saying who's greater. all we know is they ain't the same. But yeah, I just want to shout that out, man.
I agree with that mostly. If I had to choose, what this analysis was like, if we had to try to compare eras,
if I had to choose, if we had to choose, I would just say Jordan. But I will not get into a lengthy debate with people who want to do that, just because I kind of came up with this mindset, this thing, not mindset. I kind of came up with this thing I go by where I won't have a conversation with stupid people. Like that's just what I go by now. If I see,
I don't call people stupid. I'm not gonna call them stupid for that. It's their thing.
Like that's the thing where it's like if people are ignorant or stupid and they see things one-minded, then I'm just not gonna waste my time and my breath with you. You know, that's just what I go by, and I kind of had to after a few years. Like you'll probably get what I mean in a few years, Kyle. But nah, yeah. I just want to shout that out though, because
Perfect way to end it though, Jake. Yeah. With some J. Cole bars, man. Perfect way to end it.
Listen to Cole World Sideline Story. Came out September 27th, 2011. So it is now 9 years old.
Wow, man. Yeah. Time flies. One thing though, we gotta say, this finals will be enjoyable.
Yep.
Finals. No need to compare LeBron and Jordan. Just enjoy what we got.
Game one, 6:00 on Wednesday. I'm pumped, man. I'm excited.
So everybody, that's it. Thank you for joining us on the 70213 Lakers podcast. Don't forget to follow the franchise on everything. Twitter at @TheFranchiseLV. Same thing for Instagram and YouTube, Franchise Sports Media. Check out some more podcasts and content. Have a good one.